welcome to today's mini Zentangle session. Today is week 5, day 4, and the materials we're going to need are a black micron pen, a black biro if you don't have a micron, a black pencil, if you have a blending stump or a tortillon, if not an earbud will be fine, and I've got a white square of card and this one measures 5 by 5 centimeters. So please feel free to pause the video, go and get your materials, settle down comfortably, and we will begin. So to coin the use of today's expression, today is a twofer. That means it's 2 for the price of 1. So as I said yesterday, we're going to learn 2 tangles today, and the reason for this is they're both the same in principle. That sounds a little bit cryptic, but it's not meant to be. So starting off with my pencil, I'm just drawing a border around the outside. I'm then switching to my pen, and I'm going to show you the way that I draw this. Now, other people draw it in different ways, but this is the way I think is the easiest. Starting in the bottom left hand corner, I'm drawing 2 parallel lines to each other. You'll notice that they're very short. They're not even a centimetre long, but they stop at the same point. I'm then drawing like an upside down smiley face that you'll notice I've drawn a thicker line, so that gives it a little bit of weight. Starting on the right hand side, I'm just putting a little dot there so you can see where I'm going. I'm going to draw what I think looks like the side profile of a nose. You're all probably thinking she's lost the plot. And then on the right hand side, I'm going to mirror that so that they both point, so they end up at a point. And we have effectively what looks like a leaf where the stalk is in front of it. And then repeating it, I'm going to show you that you don't have to draw an upside down smiley face. You could just draw a line that looks like that. Again, I've weighted it so that it looks heavier, and then I've drawn it like that. So that shows you that you can draw it in one movement or 2. Starting from this side, you can, if you want, draw a little top to it like that. Again, once you've been doing this for a while, you'll find the way that you find it easiest. And then instead of putting that flourish, I'm just going straight. And the difference between that one is there's no strong in curve, whereas this one does really go in. And that's pretty much it. Carry on drawing your 2 sets of lines, and whichever way you decide to do that top bit. Some of them you will be drawing behind, which means that as long as you use, I didn't explain that particularly well, but I'll give you an example. So here I can't swing out as far, so I have to imagine that it would go something like that. And again, the same the opposite side. So I've got one really fat one. Switching to my pencil, I'm just going to add some shading. Now, there's a couple of ways to shade here. I can add a bit of shading there, because this stalk, if you like, is going to sit under the leaf. I can add some there. Or I could, if I wanted to, add some shading down the side of each of them. Find which suits you. everybody has their own preferences. So here's my Blue Peter moment. Here's one I drew earlier. And you'll notice that on this one, all of the marks at the top of the stalk are almost a sideways oval. That's because I did them all in the same way, just to give you an example of how they look. There's a couple of ways you can continue to decorate this. So what I've done here is when I've reached that, so there's the first row, which is 3, then there's the second row, which is 5, and then around the outside of that second row, I've just done an aura, which effectively means that I've mirrored the exact shape and contours. And then from that aura, I've then gone out and done the third row, which I have then auraed again. And then finally, for this particular one, I've done it where I've used it as a border. And I think it's quite pretty as a border. And I've just put Tangle Time inside it. So I'm going to move on to the next tangle, and then I will leave these pictures at the end so you can see where we can compare them. And then you'll realise why I've done both tangles on the same session. So I've just drawn my basic square border in pencil, and this one I'm going to draw slightly differently, and that's just because I want to give you a best example I can so you can take it and run with it. So I've just drawn badly like a forked stalk, and then on the center one again I'm just putting that upside down smiley face that I'm weighting with my pen, and then I'm drawing a circle. Now the circle should come back to the opposite side, and you'll see why now, or you should see why this is why I've done 2 today, because they are in effect almost the same pattern, but instead of drawing the leaf shape on the top, we're drawing an orb shape on the top. And I'm just continuing to add my 2 train track lines, if you like, my stalks. And you can have multiple stalks, you can have single stalks. Draw them behind, they can be longer, they can be shorter. Have fun, play with it, and see where it takes you. These remind me of a tree type bush I saw when I'm in Malta, because I teach in Malta as well, and I can't remember the name of the bush, but I took some photographs. They had these giant, great big green baubles that looked the same as this, and then the tree or the bush next to it had exactly the same, but they weren't green, they were purple. So maybe any of you budding gardeners out there, maybe you can tell me what that bush was. So with the shading, I'm doing exactly the same. I'm adding where that upside down smiley face is, and also where that stalk line looks like it's going behind. But because these are circles, I can't draw circles without having the shading to make it look more of an orb. And I've probably put a little bit too much pencil on here, and as you know, we don't have erasers in Zentangle, so I shall just have to go with it. Okay, so you don't really want to see me standing there and shading for the next 5 minutes, so I'm going to show you some examples. Here's one I've done exactly the same as this one, but instead of leaving the background blank, you can see I've drawn lots of little tiny circles. That in itself was extremely meditative. I really did lose it and get into a world of my own with that one. This one I've drawn it almost the same way, although I think they now look like cotton buds, but I've coloured in put my teeth in. I've coloured in the background black. And I think that looks pretty nice. You'll notice that the smiley faces going downwards are now smiley faces going upwards. And finally, the last one I've done, I have done an aura, but this time round I've done a 2-row aura. And let me explain what I mean by that. So when I drew the one that's a leaf pattern, I just drew the 1 aura. This time I've done 2, and I've coloured it in thick black, and then I've just put some little circles in, which actually now makes me think they look a little bit like bowling balls, but that was not my intent. So I'm just going to put the other ones down so you can see next to each other what they all look like, and you'll get a better idea of what you can do with them. And you can mix and match. You can put the circular ones in with the leaf shaped ones. It's entirely up to you. You could make this a border, where instead of it's a border going round, it's a border that goes all the way down like a bookmark, so from top to bottom style. Play with it, have fun, enjoy it, and see what you can create. And please feel free to send me your pictures and any questions you may have. I hope you've enjoyed today's session. Please join me for tomorrow, which is the final day of week 5 before we do the weekend mixed media and Zentangle crossover. I hope you've had fun. Bye for now.